Here's the review section that I added, as well as the quiz answers are on Canvas, so you could just check them there. We're not going to go through the quiz on a video. If you do have questions on it, go ahead and ask me. Most of them are in any of the exercises we've done. So let's take a look. I added this just to have some other things a little bit handier for us. This is a slideshow I found somewhere on CodeHS. Let's take a look. So this is the system out println command. We've seen that a bunch of times. Here's some data types. Text, string and chars, numbers, int, double, floats. Don't worry too much about floats. They're basically more precise doubles, and booleans, true and false. If we declare data, we do an int, or its type, in this case an int, the name, and then a variable to assign it. If we want to reassign variables, we would just drop and just have my age, or the new variable, or the name of the variable equals its new value without the type behind it. In CodeHS console, we use read int, read double, boolean, read line for getting these values. We put a prompt on the inside. We can pass a variable, or we could pass an actual string of text that we're writing. There's also scanners, which we'll get into in a little while. Here's the examples. We'll get a value when we print it for all of them. Operators, these are all the different maths. Modulo, this returns a remainder, so we could use equals 0 to check if it's divisible. But otherwise, basic mathematical operators and comparisons that we've done in math class. We can also do basic math with it. This is slides that we've seen. Modulus, what the heck is a modulus? Gives us a remainder. Increment and decrement, so if we want to, this is the reassigning. Counter, its new value equals its old value plus 1. New value equals old value plus 1 is what that is. Shortcut, just plus plus at the end. We could also subtract, minus minus. Can't multiply, or divide. When we do division, it'll always truncate, because integers don't have decimals, they're just whole numbers, so it throws it away. If you want the decimal, you would have to use a double instead of an integer. So let's look at the review assignments I gave us. So we're going to print these out. You could just copy and paste these and print those out. That would be one smart way of doing it. A lazy way, but a smart way. Sometimes in programming, those are the same. So this is how you join two strings. You put a little plus between it. This is how to join some text. The tricky part was some text was a string as a variable. So we printed out the variable here, put a decimal at the end. We could also get rid of that and put the decimal here. We could also copy paste the whole line. When we're adding numbers, we'd have to either make a variable to hold the first plus second number, or put it in parentheses, because this is adding a string together. If we made this first num plus second num, we would print out 7, 11 rather than 18. Doesn't really matter with division. Actually, hold on. Let's copy and paste the multiplication. Change this to a plus. Drop the parentheses, and we'll see on line 3. 7, 11, like I said. Put the parentheses back around it, and the math will be done before the string concatenation, so you'll actually have the right value in there. If you want to do any operators, you kind of need to put quotes around them, like when we're doing our plus plus over here, or our equals. You get the idea. Otherwise, it kind of changes how the thing is parsed. This I'll do with you. This is basically just, converting some things around like we would have done in math, converting distances, or science maybe, dimensional analysis and all that. So the user will enter the miles here, and then we want to do x miles equals feet, and x miles equals inches. So you could kind of store the conversions, or we could do this. It does break it up, step 1, 2, 3, but we could do it as a one-liner. Miles plus miles equals how many feet? Miles times 5280 plus feet. And then I'm going to copy and paste it because we're going to print out kind of the same thing. Miles equals miles times 520. We want to change this to inches now. How many inches are in a feet? 12. How many inches are in miles times however many feet are in a mile times inches? The right answer. I should run it. Instead of just submitting it. Five miles is this many inches. You can do that conversion yourself on a calculator and you'll get the right answer there. Class average, this is the basic one. How many students are in the class? You hold it in a student variable. Remember, we're taking an average like we've done in other exercises. So we'll start with our sum equals 0. We read each student's score and we loop through starting from 1 to less than or equal students. We could do 0 and less than students, but basically this is all of this is the number of students that you enter. That's how many times this will loop through and add a student's score. And then we calculate the average by dividing sum divided by students. You don't really need parentheses there, but you can have them. Sum is a double, so you don't need to worry about casting. And then your average, this little weird math to kind of round it off at the end. Rounds it to some certain like point percent. It's not too important. I think you'll get the same number. You'll just have to play with it a little bit. It casts it in a funny way just to kind of mess with you. And that should be about it. The last review assignment was passer.java. This is basically 3 strings, but with 2 strings. 3 strings was the assignment back in strings where we check to see if a plus b is equal to c, but we're just doing if a is equal to b, and then a new prompt in a infinite while loop to enter passwords are equal. The run variable here, we could have made this else break, and it would work much the same way. See, stops. And that's about it for the review assignments.